Assignment education on KET is made possible with generous support from
the Kentucky Community and Technical College System. 16 colleges working together to educate skilled workers and create better lives for a better Kentucky.
The Pritchard Committee for Academic Excellence is committed to engaging Kentuckians on education issues and closing achievement gaps, building a groundswell for better education, early childhood through college. Learn more at pritchardcommittee.org.
I'm Sam Corbett on Assignment Education, the show that shines a positive spotlight on things happening in our Kentucky schools. We'll examine important issues related to education while seeking out solutions. This time, a new approach to cutting down on meltdowns in the classroom.
We had to teach them exactly how to do that.
Meet the woman who developed it and the school administrators who are seeing its positive results firsthand.
It just really helps them throughout all aspects of their life.
Plus, a group of high school students taking project-based learning to a whole new level.
It doesn't even feel like school.
They're building an airplane worth $250,000, piece by piece.
About 8,000 parts.
See how the project got off the ground with a partnership between the private sector and 3 different school systems.
And this is how you make 1.8 million muffins a year.
What does it take to feed tens of thousands of students healthy meals every day?
And there it's cooking.
I'll go behind the scenes to find out. And we'll begin in Northern Kentucky, where a unique partnership between a children's home and a school system is giving a big boost to kids in need.
They've experienced deaths firsthand, mental health as far as abuse in the home, which puts our students behind academically and behaviorally.
Lori Duffy is the principal of TLC, Transformational Learning Center, a collaboration between the Children's Home of Northern Kentucky and the Covington Independent School System.
It's been very effective. We've been able to help a tremendous amount of students.
We're excited to have Ms. Duffy and Mr. Gohander with us during our student.
Each institution does what it does best, while filling a need for the other.
Can I just say it?
The school district created an alternative school here,
Or actually say Friday.
while the Children's Home provides mental health services, both for its residents and students who come here just for the day.
How's your day been going?
I didn't think I was gonna like it up here until I actually came up here and started working, and then I started getting the credits and everything else, and that's when I started taking off.
They try to get you to balance you to get you back to that other school.
We go to great lengths to avoid expulsion.
Director of Pupil Personnel for Covington's Independent Schools, Ken Kippenbrock, was one of the pioneers of the partnership.
I was challenged by the superintendent to come up with some alternatives to expulsion, and of course an alternative school is a great way to do that. And we kind of had the idea, what if we could marry these two concepts, alternative programming with the therapeutic services that the Children's Home could offer.
This partnership is not simply about helping a school district. It is about, truthfully, creating a new sense of health and wellness in Kentucky.
Rick Worth is the Children's Home of Northern Kentucky's CEO.
We live in an age where so many of our citizens are singularly focused on great test scores for our public schools. And yet I think the general population sometimes lacks the understanding of how many support services it takes for certain kids to successfully walk across that graduation stage. We have had record numbers of youth coming into state's custody, and the whole issue of the epidemic of drug usage is certainly making that scenario more problematic.
We have kids with multiple needs.
Covington Superintendent Alvin Garrison says the partnership is paying big dividends.
You can't leave it, to the school district alone to meet all the needs of a kid. So if you have community partners out there that want to come to the table and put kids at the top of the list and then work through everything else, I think that's so beneficial not only to the school district and that partner, but to the community as a whole.
The better you work together benefits the student, benefits your entire region.
Optimism.
I'm getting my grades up. Everything is going good. My parents are proud of me and I'm proud of myself again.
Right when you walk in, the teachers, they just start your day off really good and
They're always motivating you to do your work, and they make it fun too.
If she wouldn't have never helped me.
We have students who are experiencing extremely high levels of trauma in their childhood.
Dr. Ronnie Nolan is the director of Kentucky's Educational Collaborative for State Agency Children.
We see such a need for not just children who are in state care, but kids in our alternative schools across the state who have an increasing need for mental health services. We oftentimes don't have all of the resources we need as a school district and as educators to address those needs. And the unique partnership here is that the district started asking, how can we better serve students? They started looking at their student population and started talking about the demographics, the trauma they were seeing in their classrooms, the behavior that's a result of that trauma, and realizing very quickly that they didn't have all the tools in their toolkit that they needed. And they started asking the right questions. Who does have those toolkits? And how can we get connected with them?
The Children's Home has been an oasis for troubled children in northern Kentucky since the 1880s, and its picturesque setting in Covington's DeVue Park didn't come about by happenstance.
One of the blessings that we have at Children's Home of Northern Kentucky, specifically with our main campus, 26 acres overlooking downtown Cincinnati and the Ohio River, is that it captures attention, and people are often commenting about the beautiful view, and it's a pleasure to say to them, yes, it's a beautiful view, but the work that is happening within these walls and within the lives of the employees working out in the community is even something more spectacular and more beautiful.
I mean, look at the facility. If you were a child struggling, maybe emotionally or trauma-informed, you start with just, coming to a facility of this stature. And it tells a kid that we care about you, we're invested in you. And so I think that's at the beginning, then the people within that organization or that building wrap around them, tell them we love you, we're here to help you. I think that's such a powerful message being sent to students, and especially our students.
It's a beautiful campus. We have small classrooms with 10 kids in a classroom here. We have caring teachers. We have all of those supports. And when students leave here, they're not going to have those things. And so what's critical is that this program is teaching them the skills they need to be successful when they don't have those things.
I couldn't be happier for our kids.
We are in the tulip business, not the marigold business. And that image that I'm borrowing from a horticulture therapist here at the Children's Home is that you plant some marigold seeds and you'll see results very quickly. Tulips, not so much. You put the tulip bulb in the ground and it very well may be months before you see results, but when they do emerge, they're spectacular.
I'm gonna go back with a fresh mind, stay to myself, do what I gotta do so I can walk across the stage. I'm going to college.
It truly is beautiful in DeVue Park, both the view of the city and to see that partnership working so well. And now to a story about a new program, pioneered in Kentucky, aimed at managing meltdowns in the classroom. It's a blend of innovation and meditation.
Feel the weight of your body.
Before cracking open the textbooks, students at St. Aloysius in Pee Wee Valley are learning something else.
Find a spot for meditation when I'm done.
It's a new school-wide program called CALMA.
Calm and loving minds achieve.
Principal Marianne Hazlip says it's having an important impact.
Help the kids self-regulate, help them build relationships.
It's how we all calm down and we be present in the classroom.
It makes us kind of feel better and more happy.
Calm meditation.
It helps us keep calm, so like if we can't figure out the answer, it helps us keep calm and not get all mad about it.
Before someone gets really upset, you can kind of stop them and remind them to use the tools they have. Not tell them do this or do that, but do you have a strategy you can try? Is there something you can do that might make you feel better? Because what makes me feel better may not make you feel better. But now we have some different tools we can use, and then they can kind of pick.
Calm and loving minds achieve.
Louisville's Nellie Springston developed the program while working in Texas as a behavior interventionist.
Being able to self-regulate or calm themselves down is actually a skill that I realized we needed to help them develop, just like we would help them develop math skills or reading skills. If we wanted them to just be able to calm down, we had to teach them exactly how to do that.
Kids are using what they learn inside the classroom.
It helps us get better grades.
And after the bell rings.
My brother or sister will be like fighting, and then I'll tell them about like calma, and then they'll like
take a few deep breaths, and then eventually they'll resolve the problem.
I take a big breath and it calms me down.
It just really helps them throughout all aspects of their life.
Counselor Jessica Shane is behind the program 100%.
If we don't teach them those skills to be successful socially and emotionally, we're not doing our job as educators.
I think it's helped a lot in terms of just decreasing frustration, kind of everyone being on the same page and knowing that it's school-wide. It's not just one teacher's project or one thing you do one year and then you don't use the next year. We're going to keep using it and keep building these skills. So it's setting them up for success in the long run, too.
You breathe, take a deep breath to calm down.
The kindergartners, how are they reacting to this?
Well, the kindergartners, it's a skill, right? Calming yourself is a skill. So the fact that we started at a smaller and younger age helps them develop it to where when they become seventh graders, the seventh graders you saw today, years from now will be even better at using these skills and be more fluent with them. The kindergartners get excited anytime they get to relax and lay down on the floor and put on cool shades. So it just gives us an extra opportunity to kind of have them dig inside of themselves and think, why do I feel this way? Am I upset because I'm justified in being upset, or am I upset because I couldn't get what I wanted in this very exact moment? Should I maybe calm down? And so the more time they have to practice that skill, the better and better they'll be, and it'll make them more productive members of society as a whole.
We're gonna do calma, and we're gonna calm ourselves.
Thanks to everyone at St. Aloysius for letting us craft their meditation session. Hopefully we weren't too disruptive. Now to the subject of finding good teachers. It's not easy since they're in such high demand today. With that in mind, some schools are looking to a new source for talent, and they're finding it in places you might not expect.
We're launching education careers.
Louisville is attracting new teachers from all across the country,
Love, love, love teaching.
and a lot of them majored in something other than education.
Hi, what's your name?
We've brought a total of 316 teachers.
Rowan Claypool heads a nonprofit group called Teach Kentucky, Inc., which recruits college graduates to become teachers in the fields of their expertise.
Sweet spot for us is a biology major, chemistry major, math major, who sometime during college figured out that education was their pathway.
I knew I wanted to teach science.
Daniela Delvescovo came to Olmsted North from the University of Tampa.
I found Teach Kentucky on my college website. That was the biggest blessing.
And her middle school students seem to feel the same way.
She has a lot of fun activities.
She's a really amazing teacher.
So we're giving someone that's not yet certified a pathway into the teaching profession. It's an alternative route which incorporates certification in the state of Kentucky as well as a master's degree.
And I really find my work here fulfilling.
Kanita Ballard went to George Mason University to become a writer, but decided teaching was her real calling.
Taking that sense of loving of literacy and reading and making it real for them.
It's fun. She is the best English teacher.
We currently have 8 teachers that came from Teach Kentucky.
Olmsted North Principal Ryan Radowski.
When you give people that are very smart the room to be creative, great things happen.
As important as teachers are in education, parent engagement is equally as important. That's why we're here today with Enid Wolstein, who's a member of the Commonwealth Institute for Parent Leadership, to talk about her role and her interest in being a very effective parent advocate for her child's school. Enid, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about the Commonwealth Institute for Parent Leadership.
It's a fellowship program. I'm currently a candidate. There's monthly webinars. You learn about the education spectrum, how to be more involved with your school, how to be engaged with the legislators, tracking bills, and just basically being an advocate for not just your particular child, but also for education in Kentucky.
So I think everybody understands that for a school to be successful, you want to have outstanding teachers and administrators, but you also need very engaged parents and families. But in my experience of more than 30 years of working in education in Kentucky, sometimes you see that parent engagement maybe going a little bit too far, and some parents maybe think that they should be running the school versus the administration of the school. What would you tell our viewers, what would you tell parents throughout the Commonwealth of Kentucky, what's the most effective way to be a parent advocate to support not only your child but their school?
I think what I've learned is that it's all based on respect. To respect the administration, the teachers, the roles that they have, the knowledge that they bring, and vice versa. That we all are there for the whole child. It's academics, it's family environment, it's the community, that we're all a part of that. And I felt that way for a long time, that even before I had kids, I had no problem paying my school tax. It's all to the good, right, to support public education and to support our students in our schools. So when it comes to family engagement, parent involvement, you know, talk to your principal, talk to your teachers. They're there as resources. And it's the same with the administrators, the families, the parents, guardians. We're all concerned about our kids. We all have our children's best interest at heart. So that's what I would recommend, is just be involved any way you can, and a lot of that is communication.
As your son transitions from elementary to middle school, and obviously you're going to stay involved, what challenges, what ideas do you have as far as how you could be even more effective, be a better advocate in the future?
I track legislation quite closely. I make phone calls to my legislators, not every night, but close to it.
What would you say to parents or grandparents or just advocates to encourage them to do more of that? Because that can be a little intimidating, the thought of calling your senator or your representative to share your view on a particular issue. How would you encourage people to get involved with that?
I can't say enough good things about the Legislative Research Commission message line. They make the phone calls so easy. They have great hours. You can call up till 9 o'clock at night, which sometimes I'm right on the wire after my son goes to bed. You can do the bill tracker. There's a number of sites, I think including KET's does a bill tracker. And there's just a lot of good ways that you can stay on top of things. But you can also just email your legislator. I do that too when I'm on my phone, having my coffee in the morning. It's just, they're in my contacts list.
Right. Are there one or two pieces of advice or strategies that you could give to parents or grandparents or foster parents that would help them be more effective, more informed advocates for their children? Are there just one or two points that you would share with folks?
I think scheduling meetings with teachers is key, or even just a phone call or staying in communication via email to stay on top of what's happening in the classroom, or meet with the principal of your child's school. There's plenty of opportunities for volunteering. I think that's the big thing, is just show up. Go to the meetings, go to the events, or make that appointment with an administrator. The Family Resource Center person is a great resource. If a family is struggling in some way, the guidance counselor, they're all there to help. So I would say stay in touch with all of those folks if you can.
Well, Enid, thanks so much for spending a few minutes with us today and helping us better understand how we can all be more effective parent or grandparent advocates for our children and their schools. And best of luck to you as you go through the program and continue in this work in the future.
Well, thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you. When it comes to education in Kentucky, everyone should have a voice. And one group of high school students in Louisville has started a club that's making sure every one of them is heard.
That's my way of expressing how I feel.
What started as an after-school poetry group has turned into political activism at Marion C. Moore High School in Louisville.
We write for many reasons: to see, to heal, to be heard, and right now we're writing to change laws.
2020 Kentucky Teacher of the Year Matthew Kaufman sponsors the group called SMART.
Students making ambitious revolutionary transformations. Our goal is to implement a more inclusive curriculum in the classrooms.
The group is working with State Representative Attica Scott, pushing new legislation in Frankfort.
Legislators know their names at this point in time, and they're building their statewide network to create change because they know if they don't fight for it, it's probably not going to happen.
If we're able to defeat discrimination and intolerance now, we'll be able to push that into the future.
The first step would be implementing African American history as well as Native American history. Potentially we want to grow that to be Latinx history and LGBTQ plus history as well.
And the major goal that we have right now is just to meet with legislators in a January session.
We want to make change for ourselves, we want to make change for everybody that's going to come after us.
They also know it might take years to get it passed. So they're fighting for their little brothers and sisters right now.
A small group of people can make enormous change.
And so they're fighting for their inclusive and necessary history.
What an amazing group of kids, still in high school, but already having an impact in Frankfort. And talk about having an impact. Another impressive group of high school students in Nelson County is doing a school project that's on course to raise $250,000. We caught up with them at the Bardstown Airport. That's a big-time school project.
It is a big deal.
School projects don't get any bigger than this.
It doesn't even feel like school.
This is an 800 to 1,000 hour project.
About 8,000 parts.
It's not easy by any means.
20 kids from 4 high schools in Nelson County are building an airplane. And it's no model, this is the real thing.
I'm putting this nut back on. It really is a team project.
It's a collaboration between students, schools, and community partners.
Really remarkable.
Bardstown's Dustin McCoy and his nonprofit Sunflower Fund provided most of the seed money to get the program off the ground.
And we said, if we buy a kit to build an airplane, will you let students come and do the work and get credit?
It's been a great experience for us because we're able to leave school and go do different things during the day other than just your standard sitting in a class, taking notes type thing.
We were very excited to use this as really a model to help think about what high school should look like.
The days of holding kids hostage in schools for 7 periods a day for 13 years, those days are past us. We need to think bigger about the nature of student experiences in schools.
We believe that every student should have a work-based experience prior to graduation.
It kind of opens up our eyes and I think the community's eyes in maybe creating other opportunities such as this in rural America and rural Kentucky.
So we're standing in an 8,000 square foot hangar.
Corey Johnson runs the Bardstown Airport, which is now also a classroom.
We are giving up a prime spot here to go towards this project. But the benefits of that, even though they're intangible, are hugely outweighing the financial benefits that the board was receiving from this space.
The result is one of the most heartening things I've ever had in my life.
There's something about being around young people.
Bill Hammond is an experienced aviator, making sure the kids are doing everything by the book.
They're up to the task and they're proving it. They're getting it done.
This thing right here.
They're learning communication. They're learning cooperation. They're adding a little bit to their work ethic. But the best thing they're doing is they're getting enough knowledge to make an informed decision. Do I want to be in the aviation industry as an adult?
Through this program, I kind of actually want to be a commercial airline pilot.
And so it just opened up the Bardstown Airport to me and it opened up like all of the careers that are possible and it's an amazing experience and you can't really go wrong with it.
This is real world.
Tom Hamilton is the principal of Bethlehem High School.
You know, not only do they learn, but they actually produce something.
The plan is to sell the airplane when it's done.
We have to sell this airplane to have money to buy a kit for next year.
There's nice demand out there for an airplane like this. $230,000 to $250,000.
They're going to really feel that sense of accomplishment and achievement when someone is actually taking off in their plane. I mean, that they built. That's just got to be the best bonus here.
We're real excited about the future of this program.
We are planning for this program to be here for a long time.
The students have decided, rather than selling the plane straight out, they're going to hold a raffle to raise even more money for the program. And before we go, how about a little food for thought? How hard would it be to feed tens of thousands of school kids for breakfast and lunch every day? I got a taste of what it takes at the Nutrition Service Center for Jefferson County Public Schools.
So this is our 68,000 square food
factory, really, and warehouse.
School lunches aren't what they used to be.
Students today have such a complex palate. Fresh fruits and vegetables. We have house-made items.
Dan Elnor is in charge of Jefferson County Public Schools' Central Kitchen, handling $20 million worth of food a year, feeding 100,000 students a day.
We do over 12 million meals a year.
They're using as many local products as possible, making just about everything from scratch.
5 local farmers growing for us. We have local beef.
Tacos! That's 1,000 pounds of taco meat. It's made from scratch, so we just do it 1,000 pounds at a time.
It takes all week to make the muffins served on Fridays. In order to make 40,000 muffins, so you have to start literally a week before?
Absolutely. So just like any other factory, we go through and produce muffins every single day. We do 8 batches, 1,440 per batch, and that has to be shipped on Thursday, so we have to start a whole week in advance so that every student can have an opportunity for a muffin on Friday. 1.8 million muffins a year.
That's a lot of muffins.
It's a lot of muffins. And in the bakery, there's only 8 people doing it.
Chicken biscuits come out by the truckload.
8,000 biscuits?
Yes. And here's a secret.
That chicken is the exact same chicken that Chick-fil-A uses.
To Dan, students are like customers, so his team is always aiming to please.
They're craving things like Asian, they're craving things like Latin foods. We are constantly looking to innovate, constantly testing with students what their flavor profiles are. We have 35 school nutrition advisory councils where we take food in front of the kids and have them fill out surveys, and they look at it and say, oh, I don't like this, or oh, this is great, we want more of this. If you haven't been in a school cafeteria in a while, you need to go because it does not look like what it was like when you were in school.
Who knew a show about education would wind up leaving me hungry? I'm Sam Corbett, and we'll see you again with more good news from our local schools on Assignment Education. Assignment Education on KET is made possible with generous support from
the Kentucky Community and Technical College System. 16 colleges working together to educate skilled workers and create better lives for a better Kentucky.
The Pritchard Committee for Academic Excellence is committed to engaging Kentuckians on education issues and closing achievement gaps, building a groundswell for better education, early childhood through college. Learn more at pritchardcommittee.org.